Nekudas of Shvat. There's a few things. It's a special day. The Bechlal by Yidden, when we have a special day, we're mitzayin it, we're associated with some sort of a ma'aseh. Marshal Rosh Hashanah mitzvah sayim is b'shefer, Chanukah is meneira, cholim with oil, and Shvat. The interesting thing is up until very recently, we only were mitzayin it in two inyanim. The two inyanim is one thing is like a big simcha by every single year. Is the andas tachnun. Don't say tachnun. That's number one. The second is we don't fast. And get in the pretty sure together with no tinus, it mentions also that there's no hesped. Up until the times of the Minhagim Abraham, it wasn't known also a positive ma'aseh that's connected to Shvat. By Chabad Chassidim, it's not by us. We have the Rabbi told us the significance of the Yom. There's also in of Achilas Peiros. And not just Achilas Peiros, but some communities are very, very much mehad and all kinds of inyanim. So we're gonna, Be'ez Hashem will speak just to be mafed the Yom a little bit. We yakir the Yom, it's after, but in some inyanim a life is after Yom. Say it. I don't know. I once heard from, I think it was Kim. I think it was from him. Say that they're always. A lot of times in yeshiva, when I was a bacher, they say there's a young pagra, and the night going out, you have a fabring. So that was the same way in the 70s. But no, okay. So you won't. The Rebbe, many times it's the night going in. So what's the chat? How could it be the night going in? Why do we do it differently? We try to follow the ways in so many different inyanim. So he was masbir. The Rebbe is able to look at the day, showing what's the yom. He's able to tell us what's the yom. By us, we have to first see. We have to go today and then see what's the Pali after we speak about these three nekudas, but not saying tachnun and not fasting. And Achilas Peiros is also as a geschmack in that we see that Shvat that you don't have Bechlal by other Yonim, but the Rebbe speaks about it in different kudas. So I'll start with the first one. The first one, the minhag that Iyamiras Tachnun. So Bechlal, where is this whole thing of Shvat? It's just a technical in the Mishnah. So the Rosh Hashanah, there are 4 Rosh Hashanahs, right? First in Bechad Nisan. Then you get to Shvat. What's on the Kudah? It's for Meiser. It says in the Torah you have to give Meiser Shana. The word Shana tells you that from one year you can't say for Meiser for another year. It's especially enough kamina for years that there's Meiser. 1 year is Meiser Onin, next year is Meiser Sheni. So what is this Yom Tov? It says Yom Tov Yisrael, Yom Kippurim. What's this nekuda? So not only that, when the Rambam speaks of Shvat, he calls it doesn't call it Rosh Hashanah Leilonis. He calls it Rosh Hashanah the Meiser Eilonis, the Master Eilonis, some lotion that's mentioned Meiser. Like it's not a stam, it's a date in the calendar, a cut-off date. You have to be a certain age to be in Shir Al Mesivta. So what's the cut-off date? You have to know the cut date. You don't make a whole Yom Tov out of it. Okay. So and the frat, this whole thing of even Iyamiras Tachnun is not a din in the Gemara. That there's brought down in Minhagim they didn't have. They said Tachnun Shvat, but it says that there was a few days in the year that the Melamde wouldn't have Cheder. One of them was Lag Baimer, another one was Chamisha Sevav, and the other one is Chamisha Shvat. If the Kviyas is Leil Sheni, like Sunday going to Monday, is Chamisha Shvat. You have to make sure that to go to the Aniyim and to make sure to give them, could be after Shabbos, they don't have food anymore. Shabbos is, you work the whole week, you have what to eat. But what happens if, Chamisha Shvat is low sheni, so you don't have food. So it's brought them Minhagim Aril, Chosh, Mizok Yod, even though we say Tachnon, but nevertheless, the minhag is you have to make sure people have payers. You have to make sure that they care. The Meladim have to give to the children before Keri is finished. They have to give to the children lekach, candies, whatever. It doesn't mean not lekach, I think. But it means some candy and some good macholim. The Rebbe says, when you get to this idea of Tachon, I just want to say a lashon, the interesting thing I saw from the Rabbi Bechai. He writes. And there's two of them. One is Cheves Alvavis that people know about. Another one on Chumash. It's Talmud of the Rashba. So he writes, when you get Amiras Tachnon, what's this idea of Amiras Tachnon? You accomplish three things. Number one is, it says, why do we do? There's the Filas Apayim particularly. Because state, Vayaster Moshe Eponav, can't find. Kufla Medalef in Erechaim. It says, "Vayaster Moshe Ponov, Moshe been hit from the Eibishter. Why? Ki yorei mehabit Elokim." So you finish Menester, you're davening right by the Eibishter. What do? You're embarrassed. So Meresh China, you put your head down. So it shows on Jul. The second one is Tsar v'Hachna. Person is confident, they get with a breitkeit, often their head, but a bit of the kiyid, he goes a little bit, the posture is a little bit different, like it says in the Beginning of Shulchan Aruch, supposed to be not too confident, but not too bituldik, but when by the Eibishter you have this achna. So that's the second thing, we show the achna to the Eibishter, because we're chayshish for our Tsar, we went through a whole list of Avedas, and we were asking the Eibishter to show Rachmanis on us. So, as a similar Bachna, we didn't philosophize. And a third thing is, a third mile is, a third Nekuda by Amiras Tachnon is, the Amiras Tachnon, the philosophy in particular, what he speaks about, when a person puts his head down, so his head, his all the Evorim, the parts of the head, it's all as a keches apnimim of a person, and the choshim of a person, the eyes and the mouth, they're blocked. They're you don't block your mouth, but it's in a way that you're not expressive. So he says kuduk from this. What do we see by doing this? Because a person doesn't tell us apayim, it shows to the Eibishter, look Eibishter, I'm not expressing my kayach ha're'iyah, my kayach ha'dibur. I'm completely bottled. I don't know what's good for me. I don't know what's bad for me. I'm giving myself to you, as if my hands are tied. And even in Shemona Esrei, he says that's similar nekuda. Though we stand like malachim, but there's also the end of my legs are tied. Like Eibishter, ich bin bottled. Pashat pegashlis. If you don't move and you don't have an ability to do what you want, that's one of the nekudas of a midas the Nefilas Apayim Tachnon. And even further. There's an interesting law about it, that it says, brought down actually in the Beis Yosef and in Magen Avraham, it says, Boy lei lebarnash, it's befitting the barnash, a person, leis chazah, garmei, to show his body, bosser tzleise after davening, ki'ilu de spater min alma, as if he's spater min alma. It's a very strong lashon. It's nifter. In other words, the idea of Mesiras Nefesh. It's partially shows Mesiras Nefesh. And one last thing, that they mention in the name of the Chaim, after Nefilas Apayim, a person becomes a Berei Chadosha, a new creation. You have extra strength to fight the Yetzer Hara. A person has a Teisefes Seichel, Poshet Mera Verstand, in Torah and in its secrets. There's a Teisefes Dveikus. Okay, there's a couple other Lashonis, which I don't exactly know what they are, but extra Ashpa. So the Rebbe says, what happened in this day that we decided to skip all these miles? So The Rebbe's answer is actually teaches us something about the attitude today. That there's no time to understand the simcha is because the Rebbe said the fact that we don't say tachman on that day. How Gufa shows you that the day itself is able to repoil all of these inyanim. All the inyanim of Meira, Shechina, of Achna, Bittul, Mesiras Nefesh, that to such an extent that some people say, because it's so serious, there's so Mesiras Nefesh, that they don't say the capital that we say. Chafei, they say a different capital.
Well.
Yeah. And so we see there it says the Maila of Chamisha Asar Shvat, it has such a grace uftu that's when you get to Yamiras Tachman. So that's the first nekuda that we have. Now the second nekuda is get to not fasting. What's this idea of not fasting? It says in the Mishnah, Arba Rosh Hashanah, there are 4 Rosh Hashanah, and the Mishnah lists, right, and you get to Chamisha Asar Shvat. So it says in Shuvah, very poshut, since you list them together with Arba Rosh Hashanah, so it must be that it's also Yom Tov. Okay? But where do we find such a thing that just because it's listed together it's also Yom Tov? So the Mordechai, and also it's sort of I guess the Rambam explains that we find other times in Gemara that you have 3 things that are listed together that are together because they have the same din. We know this concept we know this idea from Gemara, from the idea there's a concept called a hekesh. What's hekesh? When you have 2 inyanim together, hekesh comes from the word nakshal dalada, hitting. Like when the menorah is supposed to make achas, because you're supposed to hit the goal until it becomes in the shape of a menorah. So similarly, a hekesh is 2 inyanim in a pasuk that are mentioned next to each other. They get the same halachas, the same dinim. Like an example is you have es and atiyas from the sukkah, es and atiyas, rova and isachamayim. They all have the same din. So the based on this in the Shuvah they write that this is really the earliest makar for calling it a Yom Tov, which in the beginning didn't know who it's from, but then later on it was found out there was the tshuva was head of chesima of Rabbi Gershom or Rabbi Gershom. So he writes. We see there are certain highlights. Now, what I'm about to say, it's not the case, but the having the fact that it is machlekes about it even shows a little bit the flaw of Chamisha Asar Shvat even more. We don't find it by other days. So there is a matzah, could be such a metzias that a tzibur is geyser tainis, a bahab, as a tzibur, not as a yachid. Now, what happens if they realize they're kaveh bahab and they realized it's come Chanukah, we messed up, we didn't relocate. Shachim is such a star Yaakov, we have to make a bahab. So what do? You push on tinies. But when they get in other words, you wait for the bahab for the next week. You start it afterwards. When they get the Chamisha Asar Shvat, it's even stronger lashon. It says see what is geyser bahab. And then even if they already started sheni fasting and donish take the fast, and so they comes the next Monday. They're fasting. So they're supposed to fast. So there is the Bach says, but it says one way. The Bach says a different way. But the basis started the Bahab. But if you did already, you should finish it. The Bach says you shouldn't even you should stop the whole seder. It shows you how powerful this all in of Chamisha Asar Shvat. Now, what do we do? So that's when they get to these are the sources that have to do with the Iyamiras Tachne, and they get to the Chamisha. So you guys are tiniest of Shtam. By the way, I'm Musgir. Another thing about the Iyamiras Tachne. One more anecdote I heard from the Meister that Nusser Gerard Chazers a lot. And he's rang into Buffalo. He's been around for a long time. So he says his father was the Rosh Yeshiva in Tzbotsk. And he says, visit. And the Bachrim were all excited that they came for a visit. They're davening, I think it was davening Mincha, and Vasam Yisrael Sholem. It's Gadol is Kadosh. He looks at the Rosh Hashiva. What's going on? Why they skip Nachman? His father, I'm sure his first name, it's Gurari, tells him, Freilich, that the Rebbe is happy. So Rebbe responded, cool. When the Rebbe comes, he says, it's indicating. It's a reason not to do Averis. But we see that it's not saying Tachman is able to be, on a day, it's able to be Poyel. This is the first in the Kodesh. Now the third thing is Achilas Peiris. So, even though it's quoted once in Magen Avraham, but we don't really find such a shturim about it, let's say, until more recent times. I think the first paper called Kreitz Hadar has a whole tikkun thing that it comes with a very, very Mesirudik Seder. So what do you do in the tikkun? Start from the psukim of creation. It's about Vateitza Haaretz, type psukim. Then there's psukim in Eikev that speak about Eretz Chitos Eira, and you have fruit. Now, how many fruit do you have? There are different Minhagim that I saw. One kehillah, they have 15 types of fruit. And they say 15 kapitla the Shira Malis. And in addition to that, they learn 15 Prokim Mishnah have, I think it's Kilayim and Orla, if it makes sense, the math. Yeah, Kilayim 8, Roshana is 4, yeah, Orla is, makes sense, 3, makes sense, yeah, I think so, okay. So they learn this Prokim. And if another, it's brought down in other Mekaydas, that the Eretz Yisrael, 30 Minipedus. In those 30, it's divided into 3 categories. 10, 10, and 10. Okay, do 10 times 3, 30. So what are the chalukah based on? There are some fruits that eat the outside, but the inside you don't. Like you eat, the lotion is Liposam Necheles, Teicham Nizrak, Moshel Zaysim, olive, dates. Some fruit is it's fakert. You eat the inside and you have to peel it. So orange you have to peel, nuts you have to peel, and those 30 fruit is different types of nuts. There are many types of nuts that are mentioned in that list of 30. And the other ones you eat both. So what's the idea behind it? It says, it's what I mentioned, there's 10, 10, and 10, corresponds to neged 10 of Asiya, 10 of Tira, and 10 of Bria. It doesn't say anything about Atzilus, but Pashas, and Atzilus, no klippus. It's made beforish, but that's Pashas, that's a Seder. And now, in addition to that, you have Piyutim throughout the years. Piyutim are based, I make it seem like it's a Yemedin. But really, it says in Furish in the Mishnah, what's the Yemedin Leilani? Seres. It's not Rosh Hashanah, yeah? What's Nekodah? So we get to this shot, the Rebbe is master, very, very beautiful Nekodah, very, very beautiful Heidat, also has the Rebbe is master like this. What are we eating fruit for? Where's the season? That it's what are we eating food? The chluchas in the earth is now it's more productive for the fruit that are going to grow. There's the Mail Tzraf. There's no fruit over there. Even when I get to the lashon in the Shona, at the beginning of the Chanata tree, what does Chanata mean? It's either a small fruit or even before that when there's only a little budding. So what are you celebrating now that you're eating, making a whole machal and peiris just because some sraf, a little bit of budding came out? The Rabbi says this is the mile of Chamisha Asar Shvat. But let's see, the Rabbi speaks about this. Chamisha Asar Shvat shows you the mile of koyach. Yid is serving the Eivishur, and he's looking. He sees a little sapling, a little budding, and realizes, it's going to take a long time for this thing to grow. And maybe grain. Sometimes you have some type of stuff that grows, vines, it grows fast. But Elon could be even up to 70 years. Like it says with Minhagim, that you saw a person planting, why you planting, it's going to take another 70 years. He told him because Einiklach are going to benefit from it. So it continues that he snapped the Dremel for 70 years. And afterwards he saw the Einikol eating from those fruits. So what's the Elon? It takes such a long time. The Rabbi says, Fakert. When the Yid starts the Aveda of right away, you should know that in the koyach itself, in the koyach, that's the Yegia, the Aveda and Yegia. In the Aveda and Yegia, particularly, that's where that's locked in serving the Eibishter is. And for sure, at the end will be also the results. And it says even on a daily basis, a similar nekuda. On a daily basis, person says Maide Ani, and they say it with the Teikef, with the Zrizus. The question is, what Zrizus? I have to, I'm still Chatzi sleeping, the Zrizus, Maide Ani, what's the nekuda? So the same nekuda, in the first moment of the day, is already koyach already for the whole day. So the waking up in the morning has to be with the greatest tkifus and the greatest rizus. Just more machshava when I get to this idea of eating peiros. So the Rabbi points out a few places. There's also a Maimir that the Rabbi speaks about this. That peiros has to do with Toim. Says that it's nice that's fitting for Bachim. The Limud HaTorah, there's different ways. Limud HaTorah, the way it's Shayach to Halacha. There's Limud HaTorah, the way it's Shayach to go on Mitzrayim, especially in King's Year. It's not so much film, there's a lot of upbringings. So if you want to learn Torah, so you should be able to say something. But there's another type of Limud HaTorah that's you're only learning Torah because this is your koch. So, well, this shows Chamisha Shvat. That's the whole thing. It's like unsere Yontiv that we made into through Minhag Israel. Through Minhag, they weren't beferish mentioned in the Gemara. Weren't beferish mentioned in all the Shulchan Aruch until recent Paiskim. That it's when you do something with a tainug, it can be moistif in Torah. So, show that tainug is. It says about Shmuel Witten. He had to serve a little bit and it wasn't it's not the video. He wasn't sure what to do. Figured, have a eitzah, I'll take a imrina from the mitzvah and I'll be okay. Like it's gonna save me. Now if Imre Bina Stam, if it's safer from the other has Pesach Hashar Kriyashma is like 25 long. This is only the opening and Akdama. And the Shara Kriyashma itself is Nochmer, and you have a Shara Tzitzis and Shara Tfilin. So he was thinking of doing it in the army. Pel Mamish says at the end, not only he couldn't learn it, but he couldn't even think. It was difficult. It was difficult maths over there for him. So I was thinking when I was reading the story, what's the Stani Balpe, Chumash, Mishnah, something. What's the Imre Bina? Take it to the army. But then we see there is such an Indian of Limud HaTorah that the person is so kol kulish ekol Limud HaTorah. It was pashut. He wanted to have that tainug, and that's be'etzim where every bacher should be holding. And Limud HaTorah should always be with the tainug tak and shivnam shechal and a whole year.